In this video, I'm going to teach you a foundational exercise called the hip hinge. Learning to bend at your hips rather than your spine is super important, and it's going to help protect your back and strengthen your buttock muscles during movements like picking things up off of the floor. All right, here's the how-to. I want you to stand nice and tall with your tummy tight, your back as straight as you can get it. Now, you might find it helpful to use a broomstick or a wooden dowel like I have here, and just place it from the back of your head, just down the center of your back, right to your buttocks. Ideally, you should have the back of your head, your mid-back, and the top of your buttocks touching the dowel or the broomstick. Now, if you're not able to do that, that's okay, but just get a reference for where your spine is as straight as you can get it, okay? And that's what you want to do during the hip hinge. You want to keep it in that position, hinging at your hips, not letting your spine change position. All right, so that can be a helpful little tool to get you started. All right, I want you to find your hips, and then simply you're going to bend or hinge forward at your hips just like this, and then stand back up, squeezing your buttocks as you stand up tall. Now, as you're bending at your hips, you want to just keep your knees soft or unlocked, just slightly bent. You may feel a pull along the back of your thighs, and that's okay. And you can try sliding your hands down your thighs towards your knees and beyond if possible. Now, notice my eyes. They should be looking toward the floor and then towards my feet as I slide down further. They should not be looking at the wall in front of me. So I don't want your chin poking forward, looking forward, but rather following, your gaze should follow the movement of the rest of your body. All right? So it's really as if you're bowing, right? Just bowing. You're hinging and bending at the hips and then standing tall again. Everything from the hips up should stay in the exact same position it was when you were standing, okay? You can also try using a chair or a countertop if you need a little extra support as you practice this hip hinge, all right? So if you just need to hold on to something, that's perfectly fine, but same principles apply where you're just hinging at your hip, looking toward the floor as you do so, trying to keep your back as straight and solid as you can throughout. You could also try standing just in front of a wall, about a foot away from the wall, and doing the same movement, either sliding your hands down your thighs or holding on to something for support. And as you hinge at your hips, your buttock should just slightly touch the wall, and that'll just assure you that you're moving in the right way. All right, and then when you stand up from the position, making sure you're using your buttock muscles to get you back up into the upright position. All right, so ways that you can progress this when you're starting this, it's gonna take some time to really figure it out, make sure you're doing it correctly. You could always use a mirror as well. But you may just start with a really small bend, right? Where you're just sliding the hands down to the mid-thigh. And as you progress and master the movement, then you'll be able to go a little bit further, sliding the hands down a little bit further and bending further forward at the hips, all right? You could also try something called a modified golfer's reach, which you will see throughout our program in the Standing Strong exercise program. And that's simply your feet are in the staggered stance, and you're simply going to do the same thing, hinging at your hips as you reach toward the floor and then standing tall again. So there's some different ways that you can do the same movement, the hinging at the hip, in different positions. Finally, and you will certainly see this throughout the program, then we're going to add some weights, so some resistance to that hip hinge, which then we start to call a deadlift, where we're holding the weight in front of us, letting the weight slide down toward the floor in between our ankles, and then standing back up tall. So I look forward to seeing you throughout the Standing Strong program, and I hope that you work on mastering this very important movement. We'll see you soon.